So first, public finance. So public finance deals with public expenditures and public revenue. So public expenditure means the government expenditure. Government will spend money for some various sectors, like for hospitals, for education, for building roads, and government buildings, etc. So for that, government spends money. That is called government expenditure or public expenditure. So we are all aware of that one. Then public revenue. Public revenue is how the government is getting its revenue for spending on these expenditures. So it is collecting taxes from the people, from the individuals, from the companies, from the corporations. So that is called as public revenue. So government revenue. So revenue means it is a type of income. So we will see these two concepts in our class. So first we will see about public expenditure. So what are all the expenditures made for government, made by the government? That is roads and buildings, for railways, power projects, for bringing us electricity, educational institutions, hospitals, service institutions, etc. So these are all the public expenditures made by our government. So why they are giving their expenditure, they are spending money means for development of agriculture and industries. So mainly for development of agriculture. If they are making a proper roadway, so it will help the farmers to transport to other cities, other places. So thus industries will also develop. Similarly, provision of public utilities. So we know that public utility means it is common for our people, common people, like electricity, water, etc. So these things also provided by the public government. So then technological changes, to bring up the technological changes for adopting any technology. For example, drip irrigation. If we say about drip irrigation, the government will spend money to bring it to the country or to the agriculture sector. Then generating employment. So they spend money, so by the people will get jobs. So this is why our government is spending a lot of money. So principles of public expenditure. So how a public expenditure should be. So it should bring maximum social benefit. That is, it should bring maximum benefit to the society and then economy. So the public expenditure should be economical. Economical means it should be optimum. It should not go in vain. That means they should not waste the money. So they should allocate it for the needy purpose only. So and then elasticity. So it should not be rigid. So in a budget, let's say that 500 crore is allotted for this year, but now the period has changed due to this COVID-19. This can be given more than 500 crore. So the government should not say that it is allotted is only 500 crore. So it should be elastic and it should be surplus. So it should not go beyond the revenue it generated. So it should be within the revenue limit. Then we will see about public revenue. So it is the revenue for government. So what are the sources means taxes. So we pay taxes now, that taxes will be added to the government income. Then price it receives, like railway fare, bus charges, electricity tariffs, water cess, etc. Water cess is a type of tax. So environment cess, education cess, like that they will tell. Cess means it is a type of tax. Then fees. So fees means it is like a license fee, educational fee, etc. So it is also given to the government. Then fines, for breaking the rules we will pay fine, that will go to the government. grants. So grants from World Bank or some other countries will go to the income of the our country. Then gifts. So these are all the sources of public revenue. So we will see majorly about the taxes, how these taxes are uh, getting collected, and what are all the principles behind it. So first we will say about taxes. So taxes are compulsory contribution levied upon persons or corporations, etc. So it is a compulsory contribution. You have to pay it. So whether you are a citizen of India, you are earning money, so then you should have to pay the income tax. So it is compulsory. It is not voluntary. So you have to compulsorily pay your contributions to the development of the nation. So upon persons, so individuals and corporations. So corporations means the companies. The companies also will pay the income, sorry, the taxes, corporate taxes. So major classification of tax. There are two type of taxes. One is direct tax and another one is indirect tax. So direct tax means it is directly paid by the consumer, the person, individual. So income tax is our example of direct tax. So what in this case, what the person will do, he will go directly and pay the money. In case of indirect tax, we will pay to a dealer and the dealer will pay to the government. It is sales tax or commodity tax. So sales tax. So many of us have noted that in every product, when we see the MRP, it will write including all taxes. So that means the sales tax. So for selling it into the common people, they have to pay. The factory should pay, but the factory, what they will do, they will collect it from us. So if we are purchasing a product of 10 rupees worth, it might have 1 rupee as tax. That is also collected from us. So that is called as indirect tax. We are paying the tax, but the dealer pays it. So that is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. So we will see about them in next slide. So direct taxes and indirect taxes. So direct taxes are the taxes directly paid by the persons. For example, our income tax. Then indirect tax, so they are commodity taxes. They are indirectly paid the by the consumer through the dealers. So example is sales tax. We will see the rest of the taxes like proportional tax. So our income tax is uh, classified as, this direct tax is classified into some four divisions. We will see one by one. That is, first one is proportional tax. So proportion, a part of your income, a proportion is paid as tax. That is called proportional tax. So proportional tax is one in which same percentage is levied as tax, irrespective of tax base or size of the income. Whether you are earning 1 lakh rupees or whether you are earning 1 crore rupee, it won't matter. So a proportion, 10 percentage of your income or 20 percentage of your income should be paid as tax. So that is called proportional tax. Then progressive tax. So this is what we follow in our India. So progressive tax is based on the tax rate increases as the taxable income increases. So as the income of an individual increases, the tax also increases. So our let's see that our income categories. When a person is earning less than 5 5 lakhs, he need not pay any tax. When he is earning up to 10 to 15 lakhs, he has to pay 10 percentage. Then when he is earning more than that, he has to pay more, 25 percentage or 30 percentage up to the maximum. So higher the income, greater will be the tax amount. So it is our income tax system. Then third one, it is regressive tax. So in this case, what will happen is the poor people will have burden. So all commodity taxes, it will like now we can tell that in GST we are paying 25 percentage for restaurants or the service taxes. So the rich people will not face any problem, but the poor people will face problem. So a tax is said to be regressive when it is affecting the poor rather than the rich. So it is the burden of payment will be more on the poor. So it is just opposite to progressive tax. So the common people will get affected. The poor people will get affected. Then the final one is degressive tax. So it is also similar to that of progressive tax, sorry, regressive tax. It will also affect the poor people. What will they will do is tax is progressive up to a certain limit. For example, up to 1 crore, it is progressive. So after that, whatever the crores of rupees you are earning, the uniform tax will be levied. So the person who is earning 1 crore will be affected. The person who is earning 100 or 150 crore will enjoy the benefits. So this also affects the poor people than rich. Then we will see about the indirect taxes and types. The specific tax. Specific tax means the amount of tax to be paid depends on the amount of commodity purchased. So, how much quantity we have purchased, based on that, the tax will be paid. So, this is also up to a certain limit. There will be quota. Quota, we know that. So, up to a certain limit, you need not pay any tax. After that, you have to pay taxes for every additional commodity like our electricity tariff. So when you are consuming 100 units, you need not pay any uh, amount to tariff to our government. But when you consume more than 100 units, you have to pay the for each unit. So like that, the specific tax is calculated. Then ad valorem tax, the amount to be paid is proportionate to the value of the commodity. So it is best example is stamp duty. So in stamp duty, when for land value, what in city the stamp duty for same land will be higher. In the rural area, the stamp duty will be less. So based on value of the commodity, the tax is fixed. So that is called ad valorem tax. So it is an important one. And value added tax, VAT taxes. We most of us have seen in our commodity, what the products we purchase. So tax levied on the value of each processes carried out by a business. So in manufactured goods or processed products, we can see this value added tax. So it is paid to our state government. So this is paid to our state government for producing or value adding the goods. For example, if someone is making uh, lemon pickle, means he has to pay value added tax, because when he purchases lemon and other commodities and he is value adding. So in each process he has to pay that tax to the state government. So this all gets replaced. All these indirect taxes get replaced by one umbrella tax, that is goods and service tax, GST. So we know that the GST came into force on July 1, 2017. So a uniform indirect tax. So it replaced all central taxes like central excise duty, service tax, customs, etc. And it also replaced the state taxes like VAT, value added taxes, central sales tax, purchase tax, entry tax, entertainment tax, etc. So all are cancelled, replaced by our GST. So why they have introduced means, when a commodity is uh, manufactured, it has to go to different places. For example, for manufacturing a cell phone, it has to uh, go around 2 or 3 states. So when it goes to 3 states, they will collect entry tax and central sales tax, value added tax, etc. Purchase tax and sales tax, like that. Many taxes will be imposed on same good. So when many taxes are imposed, the value will increase. The value of the product will automatically increase. So what they to put an excessive into excessive taxation, they have introduced GST. So there are two categories: central GST and state GST. So all are equally divided for development of the state and the central government. So we know that four partitions are there. One is 5%, and another one is 12%, and another one is 18%, then 25%. So this 25% is for entertainment and service sectors. This 5% is for minor commodities like our agricultural value added goods. 12% and 18% is for other commodities like what the rice and other groceries. So the indirect tax is uniformed into goods and services tax. So how this tax should be, how this the public revenue should be. So principles of or canons of taxation. So this is an important question in your exams point of view. They will ask what are the principles of taxation. So how a tax should be. So it should have canon of equality or principle of equality. That means the tax amount should be equal to all the income group. Equal means it should be proportionate. Then canon of sacrifice. So the sacrifice made by the poor people and the sacrifice made by the rich people should be equal. uh, because he is earning, we should not force him to pay more money to the government. He is also earning based on his skills, he is earning more, so we can't convey him to sacrifice more. So the tax should be like that. Canon of certainty. So canon of certainty means the amount of tax to be paid should be certain. It should not vary. The people should know how much amount they have to pay. When they are having up to 5 lakh, they have to be aware that they should not need not pay any tax. When they are earning 10 lakhs, should be aware that they have to pay 10 percentage of income and what are all the benefits they are and they can enjoy, like that. So then canon of convenience. So need they have to give convenience to the taxpayers. So whenever they feel they can pay the taxes, so within a year they can pay the taxes on their convenience. They should not tell the people to pay it immediately or within a time limit. So, so within a year they can pay at any time, any amount also. The partial amount also they can pay. Then canon of economy, the tax collection expenditure that for collecting the income tax or sales tax should not be more than the tax collected money. Then flexibility. So the tax should be flexible and it should be simple and it should be elastic and neutrality. Neutrality means it should be equal to all. So elasticity means so the taxes should be elastic. So it should be vary with the people. And simplicity, it should be understandable by the common man. So it should be flexible, it should not be rigid. So if we can't pay this month, we can pay next month also. So like that. So this five are most important principles, and these are all additional principles. So so when they ask in the exam, we have to write this title and we have to give small explanation. Like canon of equality means the equality of tax should be there between the poor and rich people. The sacrifice made should be equal to poor and rich people, like that. So the tax amount should be certain, and the taxpayer should be aware of the dates, final dates, or the starting date, everything. And canon of convenience means they have to pay on their convenience. So either it can be online, either it can be in person, or through checks, whatever it may be. Then canon of economy, the tax collection should not exceed the tax revenue, the expenditure made for tax collection. When the person go and collect from all the taxpayers means the expenditure will be high, it should not be high. So today we have seen about the public expenditures and public revenue. So in public expenditure, why the government is spending, and what are the uh, sectors it is spending, why it is spending, like that we have seen. And in public revenue, how the taxes are collected, why it is collected, and all we have seen.